Welcome back, and I just have a quick video today. A couple small items we're going to work on the Fiat 124 barn find. It's running really good. I'm going to have a video coming up about the driving experience, so stay tuned for that. But today we're going to look at leaky distributor, oil leak around the distributor, and also I got new headlights, and I made my own headlight relay kit. So I'm going to show you how I did that and give you some tips if you want to do that as well. It's working really good. I'm happy with that. You can take a look real quick. My distributor is leaking oil on the manifold, of course, and blue smoke everywhere. There's a seal in here apparently that when they go bad, it just literally pumps, sucks the oil up, and then it can drip out. So I'm gonna pull that off. I'm gonna mark it all and pull it apart. I've never done it before, so apparently there's some bearings in there and a seal, and you got to pull the gear off the bottom, and so we'll see if we can tackle that together. After that, I'll show you guys my new headlights. All right, let's get to it. So now what you can get, where the distributor seats on the cam box, oil leak around this gasket, and that's fairly common. But in my case, it's bypassing the seal inside the shaft. It's actually coming out these drain holes. So I know it's leaking inside here, and then it's dripping out of these holes onto my exhaust. You can see it's quite oily right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up as best I can. And it's my understanding that there's a pin in this shaft that has to be knocked out, I believe. And then that allows me to separate the shaft in here so that I can replace the seal in there. So we'll get started on that and go from there. Okay, I've got the distributor completely disassembled at this point, and looks pretty good. Got it all kind of cleaned up. At least the most important bits are clean. Off camera, I used my vise to hammer out the bearings with the punch, and to use it as a cradle. The pin in the gear was it's incredibly difficult. I don't know why it was so difficult, but I think it starts to get a little bit of a bulge on the flat end here as you hammer it out, and it just did not want to. It got about halfway, and I just had to hammer. I had to hammer on it till it came, but eventually it did. I thought I was doing something wrong there for a little bit. In fact, it started to concave this pin a little bit as I hammered it out with my punch, but it came out, and that came off pretty easily. Otherwise, I got the old bearings here, the old seal, and everything was just completely covered in oil. So it's definitely, the oil's penetrating the entire inside of the distributor. In fact, I think I still see some remnants of the bearing chase, or the race, sorry, in here, from these ancient bearings. So I need to clean that a little bit more. See, they started to disintegrate in there a little bit and left some of their insides. So I'm gonna spend just another minute cleaning, just making sure that there's a good place for the bearings to sit. And then I've got new bearings and a new seal, so those will get inserted. I'll probably just use a socket to try to set that and tap it in with a socket and a hammer, get the seal back on, we will reinsert the shaft and then get the whole thing reassembled. And that's the plan. Everything's going good so far, so I don't anticipate any problems at this point. So let's do that next. Okay, so the battery died during reassembly, but everything went back together very nice. The new bearings went in much easier than the old bearings came out. New seal was pressed in the bottom. Used a socket, no problem, went in real nice. The gears back on. The set pin still proved to be very challenging to insert. A tip if you're doing this is to run your punch through the empty hole before you put the pin in. That'll help line up the holes between the shaft and the gear. And then after that, just slam that pin in and give it some really good hard hammers with the punch, and it'll get in there eventually. So got that back on. The rest of the distributor went back together very nicely. The points I've recently replaced, and I've decided to go ahead and run the dual points for a little while longer. At some point I might change to electronic ignition, but at this point, with the big pistons I have, the engine requires a significant amount of timing advance to start, and I'm struggling with that. Getting especially hot starts don't want to go. Once it runs great. So I've put a manual switch in the cockpit there that allows me to change between the starting points and the running points, and that lets me always start on the starting points, which gives me about 10 degrees advance to get things started, and then I'll switch back to running points, and everything runs a little bit smoother, a little bit more normal with the running points, which I still have significant amount of timing advance on the running points as well. So I'm going to continue with that for now, see how that goes. Everything runs well in that configuration. My mark has been wiped away here, so hopefully I get it in the general vicinity, and hopefully I'll get it back on close enough to get it started. So that's pretty much it with the distributor. I'm going to go ahead and bolt it back on the cam box, get the timing light out, fire it up, and dial the timing back in right where I want it. And that's going to do it.